Thank you. This is the part of the story where I'm wistful because I remember being as young as people like Donnie Clark and learning how to play and getting that first moment of feeling the game, no matter how fast you were, slow down. And I think some of you have been there before where, I know you've been there before, where the disc is in the air and you feel slower than you think because things around you, they stop moving as fast, and you reach up and you watch arms next to your arm fall back, and you can keep going. And when the game slows down, that's what I remember learning, that I could be that thing. Like they used to talk about great athletes doing that, and even just for a second, if the game slowed down, how cool that felt. Fortunately, it's not always good moments that slow down. And there's a Potlatch final where I dropped a disc. And if you've played handler, you know that you hate taking the disc, looking at the field, and throwing straight across it, especially against good defenses. And I was that cutter making a far lateral cut, and my thrower had to throw it all the way across the field, and the defender was right on my hip, and I reached out to take the disc, and everything slowed down, and so I could watch my hands coming together. And you can see at this point that they're not coming down on each other. And as they start to come down, it's, well, this is not the plan. And it's about here where, and you know, you can feel this moment if you close your eyes and put your hands together. You know that the disc is going to start twisting. And you go a little bit farther, and as that disc twists and you start to go into this realization mode, that's when you have the moment of optimism. I could still get this. You don't have a plan yet, but you could still get this. And as it starts to flutter down to hip height, you start thinking crazy things like, I could hit this up with my knee, or maybe even with my foot. The rest of your body chimes in then and says, no, you don't know how to do that. And still the disc is falling, your arms are in full flail. And as my defender, this blur runs by me, no touch of the disc. I watch this fall and hit the first blade of grass, and this is time slowing down. And this is the part of the story where it's embarrassing, because I'm on my own goal line. The other team now has the disc, and maybe half a second has passed. And I realize that I'm going to turn around. I'm going to face the other team having the disc, and I'm going to put my backside to roughly 600 people that are watching this game, because this is what we do in sports. Is we stand in public in front of other people and we sweat in short pants. Unfortunately, this is the part of the story where it gets worse, because I turn, and in my super quickened brain in the middle of this motion, I know that I have a glimpse of my thrower being disappointed, as he should be. And I see what is essentially the Frisbee equivalent of the Monstars all around me. So the player coming to pick up the disc is named Steve Dugan. He's won every championship you could win. When Steve Dugan calls you to go to a tournament, you go because you're going to come out victorious. He's probably one of the best handlers ever to play the game, and he's running towards the disc with no defender near him. Oh, that's one. To my left is Brandon Steets. He has a backwards visor. His hair is immaculate. He has beach curls and beach muscles. He's about 6'4", and he's in his prime. He could jump over me if he was started from a seating position. He's about 4 yards to my left. We're still in that same first second. I know I can hear things from behind me like, oh, that was a bad one, or ooh, or my dad. I hope he's listening, because every time someone drops a disc in a game, he has the same drop laugh, and it doesn't matter if it's his son or not. And to my right is a roughly barrel-shaped human being named Kenny Dobbins, who, while he's 43 or 44 years old at this time, is widely regarded as the best player in the history of Ultimate Frisbee on the men's side. This is the triangle of doom I have put myself in. And this is the part of the story where I'm really proud, because I remembered to fake. And I tossed a foot over to my left just to give it some motion so that the thrower, Dugan, who's a very calm handler of the disc, doesn't know where I'm going to be. And I got lucky, and he happened to think I was going one way, and he lobbed the disc roughly in the area of Kenny Dobbins, with huge Brandon Steets here. And we're maybe a second and a half after I drop this disc. And then time really slows down. And I know that I started to lay out. If you look at layout pictures, you always see people with their toes still on the ground, because the whole motion is an explosion. It's a pushing off. It's not a flight exactly. And I know I started laying out, and I felt a shape laying out here. And there was some tremor in the air, so I assume Kenny started to lay out. And then I closed my eyes. And I think maybe we all did. And there was noise that sounds like static, which I assume was the crowd. And with my eyes closed, I felt something that, in my very quick thinking, hopeful brain, felt like plastic. And I hit the ground, and some other things hit the ground. And I came up from that with, this is the part of the story where I'm really scared, Kenny had my hat in his hand, which is at least not the disc, a look of glee and a Popeye arm, and he crushed my hat, which I only assume was some kind of voodoo doll of me. And I know that something good happened, and I know that something better resulted from that, but that's a whole different 2 seconds, that's a whole different lifetime, and I'll tell you some other story. Thank you.